And good evening, fellow wanderers. Happy New Year. It's just Jeremiah here at Kanaha Beach Park, next to the airport in Maui. I'm having a great day. As I might mention a few times, I had a few people contribute to me, and that small little bit of money helped me get a long cord for my AV. By the way, is this mic working? Can you tell me the mic's working when you come on? I got a 15-foot cord now. Now all I need is like a stick thing, so it feels official. And I've got a nice tripod instead of that crappy one. I got rid of the light. Got some hummus to eat tonight, some carrots, it's tonight's dinner, some peanut butter, mix some bananas and an avocado. Hey, what's going on? Hey, is the mic working? Can you hear me well? I see you. I see you. I'm gonna wait till a few more people start showing up, and then I'm gonna start talking about 10 years of travel, getting rid of all my stuff to leave Pennsylvania and chase a dream that no one ever believed in, for sure, when I left. So yeah, for now I'm just chilling. Here, check it out. Let's see. I can't wait to get a better understanding of how all this gear can work best. Oh yeah. All right. Well, who do we have here? Who is it? Let's see. Does it tell me? Does it tell me? No, it doesn't tell me. I want to know if the mic's going good. Oh well. So let's see. This morning I woke up next to Walmart. The charger I bought yesterday and my old one, they're both still hidden under the display rack of televisions at Walmart charging. Uh, it's kind of cool how I could just charge my stuff there overnight. I just got a camp next to Walmart at night, and yeah, so I charged that stuff, and then my air mattress popped, which sucks. Yo, we got a new person. Hey, is my mic working? Can you let me know, please? Uh, so my air thingy popped. Oh, you're awesome. So Squirrely, the mic's working? Oh, you're awesome. Great. Yeah, I got a 15-foot extender. I got a to my microphone thing that protects against the wind. I've got a better tripod that's more stable. I've got basically a bunch of gear to really make this work. About paints. Got a haircut. I got a colorful outfit where yeah, I'm gonna get more sun and look more bright. So when I go hitchhiking, I'm gonna look a lot more vibrant and fun than kind of travel wear. Uh, so yeah, I want to wait till a few more people start showing up because I'm gonna go and talk a lot about the story. I might as well start, I guess, with the year in review. The year in review is a lot less than the past decade. So here we go. Last year I just moved to Hawaii. I was in Honolulu. I moved there November 17th, 2021, after having spent the year traveling, going to Burning Man, the Rainbow Gathering, Mount Shasta, all that stuff. 2021 was grand. And I showed up to Hawaii and really struggled to find a job and find a place. And eventually I found a job right after Christmas, right about this time actually last year. And it was tough being a mainlander in a place where they don't really want you. And on top of that, how do they know you're not just going to bounce back? They want someone that's going to stay. I get it, And so I worked in Honolulu. You might have seen it. It's just me work. I hung out with Agatha for a minute. I had a bunch of awesome content. It was last year, but I never posted it. Agatha and I all over Honolulu getting along. It was awesome. And then my landlord thing, the landlord tossed me out of the house. He attacked me, stole all my possessions. I lost my phone, which had photos of my mom that I'll never get back from before she passed. Some paintings, paint supplies. I mean, it was over $1,000 worth of stuff. And paintings, technically, that's intellectual property. That's a felony because I couldn't have just, I could have sold prints of the painting. It's not just the painting. So that was hard. Then I got to live in that box. Did any of you guys watch me live in the box in Honolulu last year? Basically, this guy took everything I owned, locked me out of my house. All my money was locked up in the rent. I had $1 to my name and my work outfit on from looking for a job. And I literally slept on the streets of Honolulu on the concrete on my back with nothing. And it gets cold at night even in there in the winter and last February. And I slept on the ground and I went to work the next day and I had nothing, not a pillow, nothing, not a, and I earned enough money to get a tent, sleep in a tent. And eventually like people are like trying to open my tent at night and I eventually found this big wooden box. I'll send a link then. Yeah, for sure. I agree, thanks. She's nice, but and I'm very attracted to her. I don't know. I like those like slightly awkward, beautiful redheads. I don't know. They always get me. And so, yeah, but I want someone that wants me, and I don't want someone that's kind of like, yeah. I want someone. I deserve to want someone that wants me as much as I want them. What's up, Aether? Yeah, what up, Chemo, Sharon, Squirrely? Wow, we got some cool people here. Thank you so much for watching. So I'm just kind of recapping the year. So I'll put a link then, but yeah, basically I ended up finding this big box. It was like a triple-sized coffin at the top of a parking garage. And it's funny, a lot of people like actually liked the videos because it was me dealing with like so much struggle. At that time, I didn't even have access to my phone to call my phone people. Like I could post on YouTube through Wi-Fi, but I had lost my old phone, so I didn't have my number and I couldn't get in my number and this whole convoluted thing where like I couldn't reach my support group. The only thing I had was the posting of YouTube and I couldn't reach my Facebook, my anyone, like for like anything. It was tough. And I lived in this box for like 2 weeks till I got caught by the security guard. But through that time, I was so happy and energized and smiling and I was working nonstop and I was like helping people that were homeless and it was really cool. I was in like this amazing mode when I was in probably one of the hardest things I've been going through in a while. So that was my Hawaii thing. I eventually, the island was testing me and it was tough because I guess I wasn't passing. And eventually I ended up getting a place with David and my other roommate. It's funny, I already forget his name. Tom? I forget. And so I went from like sleep, I got caught in the box by the security guard. This is all on YouTube. And then I went to sleep in the park and I eventually, like all the sprinklers got on me the last night. Everything was just like getting me, and I didn't let it faze me. And you know, I got the apartment, and everything changed. All of a sudden, the people at work were nice to me. The guy on the bus would wave and say hi, and it was like, you know, they believe that the island, Pele, their goddess of duality, will test, especially mainlanders, test them, and yeah, really kind of give them a hard time, and it's like to see if they're worthy. And then all of a sudden it gets easier. And so basically it got easier and everything was nice. I had this nice apartment and my jobs were going well and people were accepting me in Hawaii and this and that and the other. And I was saving money and you know, the rainbow was coming. I wanted to go to the rainbow gathering, but I didn't feel like I could save to go. And so I was kind of discouraged and I decided not to go. And then I guess last minute my new landlord, the other landlord left. I had this apartment by myself. One of my best friends, Jamie, moved in with me. Definitely have a crush on her too, but whatever. Definitely have a crush on some of my female friends, but what can you do? Someone always does in platonic friendships. That's just the way it is. I don't know if Jamie knows that, but probably. How would you not know? Yeah, but so then my landlord's like, hey, we're gonna give your room up, and we're gonna give it up to like to the actual owner of the apartment's friends, and we're gonna renovate it. You gotta go. So I'm like, oh crap! Like I'm stuck with all this stuff. I was given a whole apartment for this stuff, and I had to get rid of it all, and it was such a pain in the butt. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to the Rainbow. Screw it. I'm leaving Hawaii. So I basically got rid of all my stuff, broke it down to a backpack, flew to Denver, Colorado at the end of June 27th, 2022, and hitchhiked from Denver to the Rainbow Gathering, and that's where the Rainbow Gathering part comes in. So the Hawaii is a playlist, all that stuff's on there, like living in a box, getting attacked, whatever. My core paddles, working nonstop, rambling about my ego for a while. There's lots of different stages. But then the Rainbow was cool. Happy New Year. No Way Down Under. I feel so special down under. Oh man. I'll come visit someday for sure. I mean, I'm a lot closer to Australia now than I've been. As a kid, I was actually offered a chance to be a foreign exchange student in Australia. I was like gifted and I flew through all these tests and I like got the high score of the PSATs in 7th grade and that's like a pre-SAT in Pennsylvania, like literally in the fucking state. And they were gonna send me, but we just couldn't come up with the money. Whatever. I'll go that way someday. Well, so I went to the Rainbow, and I couldn't film as much there because I was really trying to embrace the experience as I wanted. So I got some content. Then I hitchhiked around, you know, for like 3 months. You know, I traveled with the one girl I left with, and we didn't get along great. And I traveled with my ex Jen, and we didn't get along. You're noticing a pattern. We didn't get along great. But the thing is, I'm the person bringing it up, and like I'm transparent about it. So I don't know. You ever travel with someone, just you two, for extended periods? When you're not like on a vacation where you have like all this stuff set up, it's not easy. You know, it's easy to be like, what the heck is wrong with these people? But it's tough. It's tough. But you know, Jen actually had a good time for a minute until it got aggressive. Again, I'm not trying to say stuff about a person where they can't defend themselves, even if they are like running me through the mud right now themselves. That's just whatever. That's life. But you know, we went to like the Great Sand Dunes National Park, and we went to what's that town? That spiritual town down in Colorado, Crestone, and did a bunch of cool shit. But by the end, I was over it. She was over it. I got dropped off in Grand Junction, and that's when I hitchhiked 800 miles through the desert, which was amazing. That was a fun section of the YouTube. I met up with my buddy Buck Jones. Now Buck Jones has Bucktails. If you get a chance, check out his YouTube. He stepped back. You need to tell him, hey, I came from Jeremiah's channel, and you need to get back on your shit, because he's amazing. His channel was awesome. I watched him over a decade ago. He's literally a YouTube star. Imagine if, like, I'm not a YouTube star, but imagine if you watched my channel and then you randomly met me on the road sometime. Well, I ran into him twice in 2020 and 2021, and we decided to travel together. So he met me in Reno at the end of my hitchhiking through the desert from the Rainbow. And then, man, we went to we went up by Lake Tahoe. We went up to like Crater Lake, Lassen National Park. We went up to went down to the Redwood National Park area, up the Oregon coast, up the Washington coast, up around to Olympic National Park, taking photos the whole time, him, me, and his dog. He's an awesome guy, Buck, man. I wish he would do his YouTube more, but he had actually been robbed. His vehicle had been robbed and all of his shit stolen. He lost all of his YouTube stuff, so he's just discouraged. He gave up. We should go tell him to not give up. And so we traveled together for like a month, and it was awesome. But even we started to get on each other's nerves, because it's traveling. It's not easy. Yeah, go travel with next to nothing with someone, you'll see. And then I ended up in Bend, Oregon. Yeah, that was awesome. I made a tent set up. I like lived out of it, got it super comfy, switched around some jobs, started making really good money, bought an e-bike, was super excited, and then the money just, right after I bought the e-bike, it just dropped off. And it was the season, it was done. You know, there's summertown, kind of wintertown, but those shoulder seasons, it was rough. My plan was to hike the Appalachian Trail in March the next year, 2023, and I just felt like I wasn't going to be able to pull it off, especially if I stayed in bed. It was snowing, it was cloudy, I was depressed, it was in the teens at night, I was living in a tent, I was frozen, Mike's ate my tent. It was actually good content. If you didn't watch my Bend stuff, check it out. So basically, I'm just, I'm kind of recapping the year, but also telling you which playlists it's in. So honestly, go in the playlist, it's pretty neat, because you don't have to push buttons at the end, you can just let it go, you know? And I got this, I can't wait to watch that. No way. Well, what's pretty cool is that towards the end of Bend, I ended up meeting someone special to me, and we had a very short time, and I'm sure that I got feelings whenever, like, I just met them and they were just probably, like, not feeling it, but who cares? I'm so happy to be able to, like, feel again. And so I had that, and I'm not sure how it's reciprocated, and funny enough, one woman who connects and like looks me in the eyes passionately when we're together and touches me back and all that stuff, and she messaged me when I left and I didn't respond, and she messaged me back 3 weeks later, and I still haven't responded, like 2 weeks later. That girl I went on about, I don't know what to say. I'm just so like still hung up on feelings, and I just don't know what to say, because I feel like it's unreasonable for me to have feelings like that for someone that I only had like 2 weeks to get to know. Or is it? I don't know. So I gotta reach out still, but I kind of like ghosted her, like a shit face. I guess I'm just embarrassed because I haven't pulled anything off, to be honest. Gotta put that pride aside. So I moved to San Diego. I said San Diego's. All right, yeah, that's a good idea. You're right. It was great. I really cared about her. I still do. I would tell her to come here and move to Maui with me if I got things set up, honestly. But she has her things she needs, and I have mine. My backside healed up pretty good. Yeah, I got a surgery too. It healed up good. I haven't had any issues with it. Actually, it's been pretty good. Thank you for asking. That was tough. I have a cyst on my tailbone that sometimes will get sepsis, and I had to get a surgery. And it's completely related to my stress levels, honestly. My stress levels. It affects the wrong bacteria, which propagate and probably strike up some autoimmune disease stuff. And some, yeah, no good. So I'm good now. I feel great. I feel really good. But thank you. Yeah, I guess sometimes the trolls get to me, and I know that's stupid. I have so much support from you guys that one troll can throw me off. Yeah, I do. I work so hard. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot. But so basically, I decided to go to Carlsbad, California. That's where I'd considered going, either Washington or Carlsbad or Bend when I moved to Bend. And I could have gone to Carlsbad or U.S. Virgin Islands or Hawaii, but I chose Carlsbad because I had a place that I could like stay. Yeah, the singing ball, check it out. I had a place I could stay at my friend Janine's while her twins were at school. So I moved there, but instead of staying at my friends, so I could have some space, I knew I'd get a job right away because I'm so awesome and my resume is so good. I got an apartment out for Craigslist, paying $1,300 a month, and the lady still never gave me all my security deposit back. I think I'm just screwed. I had a feeling. So she was all super flirty. She looks like she's a porn star, like attractive but too thin. Probably about 60, but she looks like she wants to be about 45. Very, very, very flirty. And yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on there. But by the end, I realized that, like, I think she was just trying to keep me distracted with the whole flirty, like, fake stuff thing. And it worked. And, like, I think she got, like, half my security. Knowing that I was leaving, being homeless. She technically has 21 days, so she has 5 more days to get it back to me until I have to take her to court. So I stayed there, and I couldn't get a job, and I like literally went out like 4 days a week, you know, riding my back all over, heading out, did over 70, 80 resumes. I must have handed at least 50 of those in person. Couldn't find a job. Everywhere I went, it was a bunch of pretty girls. I'm sorry, but Asian men and Latino men. It seems like the white male wasn't having much of a spot in the restaurants in San Diego. You might laugh. You know, I don't really go on about race politics much, but the hardest places I've dealt with are the places I've been a minority, where it's like literally they'll cook meals for the entire staff except for the white people. I don't know. Sometimes I guess maybe it's that like it's harder for me to get those jobs because I don't have white privilege there. It kind of seems a little bit like maybe like the opposite of white privilege, because I don't know if people have as hard of a time with a good resume in places where I have my white privilege. You know, again, they have people of all colors. There's places I get hired easy, but places I don't get hired easy now, they don't have many white people. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm sorry, but the people who feel oppressed, it's not so much that they're oppressed, it's that they aren't the oppressor. They want to have the whip in their hand and not on their back. You know, and that's not trying to like accuse any specific race or anything, but I really think that's the case because a lot of times majorities treat minorities shitty regardless of the race. So, you know, we can try to say that like white people suck and white males suck and all that shit, but it's a bunch of malarkey. I'm sorry. People suck. Majorities suck. I'm gonna move on from that one. So, no luck in Hawaii, no luck in California. I tried so hard. I ended up having to, you know, I went to Slab City to get away from it, had a great time. Saw some great friends, made some new great friends. You know, some dark things happened there, but it's not what this channel's about. You know, I don't need to bring all that stuff up. I have to catch up on these in a second. You guys are commenting and I appreciate it. But I ended up feeling a lot better and finding myself more in Slab City, and then I ended up going back and deciding that I was going to panhandle. I couldn't get a job through the holiday. They didn't need me. And I was going to travel and be homeless in Hawaii through the holidays. Homeless and happy in Hawaii through the holidays. So I panhandled for the way here. My friend Agatha is what convinced me because she was coming and she really wanted to travel. And the biggest crush on that girl. Last year we had such a special time. Like I said, at first it started out rough between us, and I just felt like she was kind of like condescending. But like once she saw who I was and she gave me a chance, she like trusted me more, and like we really grew close. And it was nothing more than friendship because she had set that boundary, like even like a physical space boundary, and like I was really like, oh my gosh, yeah, probably the stronger feelings I've had for a while. But I valued our friendship more, and she had a boyfriend she dated for 6 years. And when they weren't dating, uh, he didn't want to be friends at all, so I didn't want to trigger that. So I just put all the focus towards friendship, and I kind of feel like it wasn't really seen or appreciated much, and maybe she just wanted me to chase her as the person wanted to be with her while she could keep the distance and get all the benefits and have the cake and eat it too type stuff. Or maybe I'm just full of shit and crazy, you know? Maybe I'm a complete asshole and I just make things up in my head to feel better about treating people like shit. Who knows? But so I came here, I flew here and waited a few days for her, and things felt very controlly, and like I was a subordinate in this issue, and I had set boundaries and they didn't go well. And here I am in Hawaii. I'm gonna paint, and I am painting, and the one painting turned out awesome, and I'm sure you saw that when you grabbed it. It's not done yet. So yeah, it's not done yet. But yeah, it's my first painting in years, and I'm like actually finishing it. Not bad. I need to add more dark in the water back here, and a little more turquoise color up front with like light going through, and then maybe smooth the clouds a little bit. Call it a day. I don't need much more. I think that I really like the way this stuff turned out. I was real basic with it. I didn't stick to exactly how it was, but I really also like the composition. You know, the composition kind of takes these footsteps here and curves in to the boat, and it curves back into the mountains, back in on itself. It was actually kind of designed on purpose. A lot of painting for composition, it's not so much like what you're painting. You're actually drawing a diagram that pulls eye movement. Your eyes are starting here. So if you can create a certain type of movement throughout, that's what art is, and that's what composition is. And like I learned a lot about it back in the day, and it's fun applying it to photography and such. I mean, this isn't perfect, but it's my first one in years, and it's my gift to Agatha. Even though I really still don't like the way it ended up and feel like there was much accountability on her part through it, and I kind of had to villainize myself just to maintain the friendship. And you know, even this morning when she called, basically let me know she was having breakfast at some other person's house because she found someone special. Like, it's kind of on the hurtful side of things as far as like not having to go to that angle, but I'm not perfect. My friends aren't perfect. I'm already over the like aspect of it where I had feelings for her, because people I care for wouldn't really do that type of thing, you know, when it's like that. So it was a pretty easy way to like cut the emotional tie as far as the potential for all that stuff. But there we go. Cool stuff. Still gonna be her gift. And I'm still gonna make t-shirts or hats or stickers or bumper stickers or prints out of it and try to merchandise and sell it, and use these as like Patreon things where like if you pay the first, you know, if you pay $1 a month, you get like a sticker. You pay $5 a month and you get this, and you pay like, you know, $50 a month and you get a print and this and that, you know. So I'll probably end up having a tier system in Patreon, so I gotta start gathering up digital copies of this. And yeah, in a second I'm gonna catch up on all the chat, because I pretty much caught up with the year. It's been a great year. Didn't make it to Renegade Man, but you know, the year I went had like 20,000 people. This year had 200-300. Rainbow Gathering was great. Made some nice connections. Hardly did interviews. I still need to do that. Once I get that stick thing on here and I got like an actual mic I'm shoving in people's faces, it's gonna feel really nice doing interviews. And now that I have the tripod, I can like be in the interview, you know, and like give it. So yeah, I'm gonna go on then about my 10 years of travel, because it's been a hell of a 10 years. Getting rid of all my things back in 2012. And that's kind of the main thing today's about. But let me go into the chats and answer some of you guys' questions, because I really care about you. I might actually chew on some hummus and some carrots and some stuff, because I really haven't eaten that today yet. Yeah, adversity brings growth, not less painful though. Agreed, yeah. what I've heard, I mean, it's probably a religious parable, but it's kind of like when you're purifying metals, you get this ore. So basically, we are the ore, and this ore has all these metals in it that are really strong and pure, but with the impurities, it's weak. What? Well, what you have to do is you have to put the ore through the fire, which is adversity, in order to burn all the impurities out so that you have a strong, valuable metal that's shiny and that doesn't break. So adversity is just burning out the impurities of the ore. And even so, there's still imperfections, but if you know about like gems and stuff like that, like, oh, Sharon, you're awesome. I remember that. That was back whenever I did Mount San Jacinto, and I was getting like 38 views each time right before I went to the slabs. Lost my train of thought, but it's cool. I'll jump on this here. Let's see the comments. I'm going to probably answer them backwards, but Sharon, thank you so much for watching my journey this whole time. It's kind of progressing. Like it is going more wholesome, and it's got more stuff to make it look cooler and work. And I got the live stream and the monetization. It's actually going some progress. It makes you wonder where it'll go. You pick mushrooms, nice. Magic, nice. I would love to like meet up with some of you guys. When I'm on my travels, I would totally swing by to meet you, especially a lot of my core people. I would love to come meet you. Sudbury, Ontario. Ooh, I got offered DMT when I left the slabs, but I turned it down. I was secretly afraid it could have been the devil's breath. Sharon, I'd love to see some of your paintings. 14 years single, you deserve to be with people, but at least you probably learned to love yourself, Aether. That's awesome. Just looking through the comments. I like the Canuck conversation, singing bowl. Awesome, just lots of amazing people making me feel good. And all right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about why I travel, what started it. Yeah, so I grew up, I was born in Tennessee. We were super poor. My brother was 13, my sister was like 7. My parents had been together 13 years. They're at the tail end of a marriage that was rough. And basically, like, my family lived in a weird sect off of the Mormon religion that they were trying to start like it was almost like a mini cult off of the Mormon church. And they lived in the woods in Tennessee where they moved from Connecticut so they could start a summer camp for like the developmentally challenged. There's several families. It was kind of weird. Well, it didn't go through. So when they had me, they're going through like all these things they went and moved towards didn't go through. My mom had these visions from God that they had to go there and all this stuff. And it kind of like, yeah, led to some arguments and fighting and the pressure of having one more baby. They fell apart. My dad, they divorced. There's some pretty rough accusations and a bunch of other dark things. But my dad, he dealt with my mom. And my dad was far from perfect. I admit that, but my mom was a paranoid delusional schizophrenic, and she was very abusive. And I can't imagine the emotional trauma that she put him through. Her main thing was psychological abuse. And so to heal, he went and moved to Florida, grabbed a surfboard, got back into painting. He would paint on the beach. He'd make straw hats out of palm fronds. He would sell his art. He'd surf. He'd fish for food. Live out of an RV. And sometimes he would go and just travel. He did van life well before. I mean, we're talking the 80s. Before Alexander Supertramp, he was doing that lifestyle. Like, I'm not doing this because I watched some movie called Into the Wild. Like, my dad was the OG before that kid. Like, I'm sorry. My dad would have totally had a movie made after his last 10 years. He was such an amazing guy. You'd meet him. Like, I have like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy where it's kind of blurred. That's like how much like the vibrant energy, the like, the intelligence or whatever, like, the unique intelligence. It's not like I'm just smart, but like everything you see about me is just a shadow of who my father was. He was such a good-looking, strong, like caring guy, just amazing. And it just inspired me so much that he had next to nothing and he was so happy when everyone I knew was just worried about what they had, trying to get more, and they weren't. And to me, it just, from a young age, I said, that's who I want to be. I had the chance when I was 13. My mom never let me get to know him. So the whole time he was an active father. He wrote me letters. I never wrote back. You know, he can hardly read. He was hardly literate. He'd write these letters where, you know, half the letters were like backwards, you know, and I never wrote back all the years. And I was 13, and finally my mom let me spend time with him. He picked me up in Pennsylvania. My first memory was him coming all the way from Florida a few months after the divorce when I was 3, and coming to see me. My mom saying no, he couldn't see me because he wasn't paying child support, but I guess he was, and it was getting stolen. So basically, because my child support was getting stolen, my dad stopped paying child support the rest of his life because my mom wouldn't let me see him. So I lost my father and the money because someone had been stealing the money, which was a big resentful thing to have to get over, which I still haven't, which has caused issues in my life. But I don't need to go on about the details of that stuff. But basically, I had time to go and spend with my father. And my dad came, picked me up, and we had a week together. And we went up to Connecticut, and he showed me where he learned to surf. He showed me where he learned to hunt and trap, where he was born, the houses he lived in. He used to poach. He showed me the wildlife refuge. He'd jump the fence and hunt mink and skin them and sell the furs. And dude, my dad was a gangster. I don't condone with all the ways he lived, but it's a big reason why I pursue shooting with a camera and pushing towards conservation rather than shooting with a gun and breaking into wildlife conservation areas to kill animals that feel protected. So again, far from perfect. But he showed me all these different places, and I got to get to know him, and we became friends through the process. We went to Maine, and we met his brother. We met his brother Bobby in Connecticut and Maine. It was crazy. There were weapons on every square inch of this guy's house, my uncle's house. Even the bathroom, every type of weapon you can imagine. And that's when I realized my mom's crazy stories about him being in the militia were true. My mom wasn't always full of shit. But yeah, so what happened is we ended up going back to Connecticut then, and then spent the night over at my aunt's house that last night, and he invited me to go fishing. And I hated seeing stuff suffer. So rather than go fishing, I chose to stay and watch Saturday Night Live, and I couldn't watch TV. My mom was she wouldn't let me watch most TV. It was mostly because she wanted to watch the TV, and there's just one TV. So she said the devil was in every show I wanted to watch, and used her religion to back it up. But those smart tactics hurt. So I could watch Saturday Night Live, and I chose to stay back. And my dad went, and he got literally a 4.5 foot, 5 foot sea bass, the striped bass, huge. And the next day, I just remember man, I should have gone. And I kind of felt this feeling like my dad was a little bit ashamed because everything was built around hunting and fishing and trapping and and I was the kid who's secretly praying that Bambi doesn't come by when we're hunting, So he drove me back to my mom's house. It does have to do with my travels, honestly. So he drove me back to my mom's house in Pennsylvania, and I was so excited because I had this guy that I wanted to know my whole life, and I was finally going to be his friend, and he was going to be in my life, and I wanted to show him the Appalachian Trail and my fort and all the aspects of my life that he never even got to know about. And he couldn't. He had a back surgery he had to go to. It was in a week. They were going to put an electrical outlet in his back, basically, because he had a spine problem, a surgery that went bad. So they were going to basically keep him from getting in the water, and his life was surfing. With his back surgery, he was so nervous, and he had to go and prepare for it. So it broke my heart, but he didn't stay. He left, and I was just so excited because I was like, my dad and I are finally going to have that relationship. I'm finally allowed. My mom's letting me be his friend. I'm going to have this relationship. I finally have a father. And then about a week later, my brother called and let me know that he got the call. My father had passed in his sleep. So that was hard for me at age 13. I'd been so blessed to have that week, but it was a struggle. I don't know if I really cried even. I was pretty off. And yeah, I'm still off. It's been 17 years, 27 years. It's been 27 years and I'm still off. But I was off, and I suffered through victimhood mentality, and my mom put me through a lot, and I love her to death, God bless her soul, but she was ill. And so eventually I got out of the house, and I just struggled through victimhood mentality and dependency issues and messing around with pills and selling drugs and being the coolest guy ever, having the biggest parties, getting blackout drunk, bragging about how far I could shoot my puke with the Exorcist, like Exorcist projectile vomiting, because I could drink so much and shoot it like 7 feet. Man, I was the man. I was so cool. And then, yeah, I kind of had like a psychotic break. I hadn't talked to my mom for 3 years. Had all this other crazy shit happen, and I kind of like put alcohol aside. I had put the pills aside years before, and I like built up this new relationship with my mom all of a sudden, and I realized that I could go and travel, and I could go and get the peace I wanted. And at first, I'm sorry to share this, but I had been suicidal for years, and I always kind of dreamed about moving away and losing contact with my family slowly, so that when I took my life, they wouldn't have suffered as much because they didn't have a relationship built. So that was actually a big part of my plan leaving originally. But I found life and I found passion in the process. I quit drinking and I started backpacking the Appalachian Trail, and I started meeting these people that had nothing and were so vibrant and happy, and they reminded me of my father, and I grew up right next to the Appalachian Trail, and I wanted to be like them, so I started backpacking. I did all of PA, like 250 miles in that year, and I lost a bunch of weight, and I quit drinking all the time, and I got all the bridges that I burned, I put them back together, and I realized that I was going to leave Pennsylvania, but I wasn't going to go to just Tennessee like I had said that one time 3 years ago. I wasn't going to go to Florida like I said that one time 5 years ago. I wasn't going to go to Hawaii like I said that one time 8 years ago. I would pick these places and fixate on them and tell everyone I'm going there and do nothing. I was literally going to go to all of them, all the places. I was going to follow through with all the things that I didn't follow through with for years, all the things that I said, hey, I'm going to do this, but I let life get in the way. I let me get in the way, and I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to do them all. And I said that I'm going to go and I'm going to pursue my art. Now, I've been painting all the time. I was going to go follow my father's dream and get to know him, which I hadn't gotten to while he was alive, by living like he was and going to places he had. And I made the decision, and I wanted to go, and I believe the world is full of zombies that are just asleep while they're awake, that we've been deadened and dulled down through the media and each other, and that we're programmed to not feel. And I wanted to go and bring this vibrant energy my father gave to me, and I wanted to stir it up into some wildfire and bring it from place to place, waking people up, reminding them to be alive, to pursue their art, to follow their passion. And so I used Facebook for about a decade to just go on and on and on and on and on and shoot my photography and paint. And I moved to Tennessee, and I brought one of my best friends, John Shoup, and a woman I was dating named Arian, and there were some crazy trials and tribulations and triumphs, and man, right away I got on the front page of the newspaper within a week, painting the old mill in the Pigeon Forge in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, painting the most photographed architecture in North America, the old mill at Pigeon Forge. My photos were doing awesome. All of a sudden my family, who like never believed in me, was like, wow, you're gonna be like you're gonna be a millionaire artist. All of a sudden they believed in me, you know. People started believing me. That everyone just thought I was full of shit. Yeah, I'm gonna go travel and keep traveling. Like they thought I'd be right back within 2 months. You know, that was 10 years ago. So I went to Tennessee, where I had been born. I traveled the Smokies, where I grew up with this mythos of my family explorer. My father was a Boy Scout leader for the church, and he brought all the kids there. And I grew up with all these stories of a whole family that went to the beach and went on cross-country road trips and did cowboy birthday parties where my brother got a pony for his birthday. And then I grew up in this like psychologically tortured household with like an abusive mother and sister and like neglect. And you ever see What's Eating Gilbert Grape? It was like that. And so yeah, I wanted to go and like be a part of all those stories I got to hear and see all the photos of, but never have for myself. So I did. I went and I made them, and I painted, and it was amazing. And I was on fire, and I was full of passion, and I lost so much weight. I was so skinny. So skinny. I was down to like 160. My family thought I was on drugs, but I was just so healthy. And so then winter came. I had saved money. I got the money for a car, and I took the car. It was a Honda Accord. It was nice. I missed that car. And I drove to Florida for my first time. Moved to Florida 10 years ago now, December. I moved there December 17th, 2021. I remember the date exactly. It was July 17th, 2012 that I moved to Gatlinburg. It was December 17th I moved to Florida, Cocoa Beach. My buddy and I showed up, no plan, in my car, went to the bay, got down on our knees and prayed, God, please help us to find something that's going to work. We believe this is going to work. And literally, as we're praying, we opened our eyes, and dolphins right in front of us started doing backflips out of the water. The only time in my life I ever saw that. And this lady answered, and we got an apartment for $500 a month, 2 bedrooms, a mile from the beach in Cocoa Beach. I got a job lined up, and everything was working great. I was painting on the beach. I painted the Cocoa Beach Pier. You'll have to check out my art if you haven't. But the pier was where my dad's ashes had been spread. It had been 20 years almost since he had passed, and I never got to make it to his funeral. I wasn't allowed to go. My mom didn't let me as a kid, and I didn't get to go as an adult. So for the first time in my life, I was there at the Cocoa Beach Pier, getting ready to teach myself to paint. To teach myself to surf while painting the pier, and I did, and I got my piece. That painting is my memorial to my father. I finally got the piece that I wanted, that I sought for years. While sitting there painting it, this guy comes up to me, and no lie, he says, that's the most detailed painting of the pier I've ever seen. And I say, wow, thank you so much. I say, the art means so much to me. My father is an artist. He used to paint here. He was here like 30 years ago. And so the guy goes, well, what was your father's name? I've been here for about 40 years. I say, oh, his name was Fred Spellis. The guy instantly starts tearing up. It says, Fred Spellis? You're Fred Spellis' son? He goes, Fred Spellis was my best friend. So here I am on the beach, memorializing my father's life, learning to get to know a man who I never got to, who inspired me to have all this energy. And I was standing next to his best friend in life. All I knew were the stories of my father during my parents' marriage. I knew nothing of the 10 years after, except that he painted, traveled, loved life, kept it simple. So this guy basically, Paul, sat down with me, shared a beer on the beach, the only beach in all of Florida, the public beach that you can like legally drink a beer in the pub, on a public beach. And we sat there, and he told me all about my father for hours, how he was into philosophy and how he would take the last thing he had and give it to a stranger. He'd literally give it the shirt off his back, about how he'd travel and how he'd meet women. And I learned so much, and it's like if I had just sat there in Pennsylvania wondering like I had for years, I never would have gotten it. I'd literally just taken all the fear I had, I set it aside, took all the items I had that were holding me back, all my stuff, and I got rid of it and sold it. And I hit the road, and I have not looked back since, 10 years later. That was a special moment. I sat there with Paul, and we finished, and we embraced, we hugged, and I never saw him again. It was so beautiful. The next day I went, and I finished a complete sunrise painting of the pier in 2 hours. I was on fire. I was just full of energy, vibrancy, love, passion, life. What I didn't realize at the time, that healing is not a one-stop shop. I thought that I was healed and that I would just be that way forever. So I continued on my journey without putting energy towards further healing. It's not how healing works, though. You have to continue putting energy. Healing's more of a juggling than it is a one-stop shop. So over the years, I ended up back into darker places. I went back to Tennessee. It was amazing. Ended up getting some really nice photography. Ended up starting a protest against the national park shutdown. Single-handedly started a protest where the Obama was pushing for Obamacare, and he shut down the national parks, where I started the single largest national park shutdown protest out of all the national parks. For a week, I went around handing out flyers. Everyone put it on their business and then posted it on Facebook. I did interviews with all the news stations, all the radio stations. I called all the governors, all the business owners. I called everyone. I spent like 120 hours this week in October 2020, or October 2013. Yeah. And yeah, started a protest. 250 people showed up at the peak. All the news stations, all the radio stations. The feds called me to help me organize. They said they agreed with what I was doing, but they couldn't technically. I had people like, no, that was the national park. The feds called me and said basically that if I really wanted to go through with this, that they had some dirt on me that they were going to throw open to the public on the news. And I said, do your worst. I literally had a secret like call from the feds that said that they were going to like make me look like shit if I like continued with the protest. Like no lie, it was that serious. And I did the protest, and the only road through the Smokies. Like there's a guy with a loudspeaker. There's a guy that played banjo. I had like a speech that I memorized and orated. Someone else did too, and like it was so powerful. And thousands and tens of thousands of cars went through the only road through the Smokies open, which is where we were posted up at the sign. And we all had pickets. There was an 87-year-old grandma who lost her grandson in the Iraq War, whose family was from the Smokies. They were promised to always have access. Since the Smokies is the only national park paid for 100% by the American people, that was all 100% private land. Nothing else like it existed. There were promises that were broken that year, and families kept from their graves of their loved ones. And I realized that one person can make a fucking difference. Anyone who tells me that you can't make tells you can't make a difference, get them out of their life. As what's his name? The Minx guy, the old guy from the Rainbow Gathering in Taos the other year, he said, never trust anyone who tells you you can't do something. They are not a wizard. Yeah, people didn't believe. Yeah, so then I'll never forget, it's before the protest, and I go and I'm getting the picket stuff gathering, and I did all this work, and I'm telling the lady how, like, it's like, what if I did all this work and no one shows up? So, long story short, she tells me she worked in homes for battered women, and it always felt like very discouraging because 99% of them would just go back. She did all this work, had the shoulder for them to cry on, and they'd go straight back to the abuser. And she said, just so you know, after a long time, I finally realized that if I could just change one perspective, just help one person, just change one point of view, it's all worth it. So I was re-energized, and I showed up that day, and everyone showed up, and restaurants showed up, just bringing pizzas and food for us, people that were working and couldn't. And literally after the protest, 2 days later, they opened up all the national parks again. One person can make a difference. And I'm not saying that because that one person was me, but you just have to believe. You have to put fear aside. You can make waves. You can change the whole entire world view just by believing you can. I've seen it. I've done it. So that was great. I ended up meeting a girl that I really liked. Things didn't work out. I was crushed. Another tall, beautiful redhead. Got into a depression, dated some other girl. She had 2 autistic boys, played daddy for a little bit. It wasn't super fair because I didn't like the girl that much. It just bounced. It wasn't my best move. She had been like cheating on me too, I realized. And I'm like, there, playing dad for 2 autistic kids. Yeah, whatever. Peace, deuces, later. Official ghosting. So I went back to Florida, lived there for like 2 months, and I went back dedicated to free diving, 100% free diving. So I started diving the springs, and within 2 months, because originally I was in Florida, it was so flat, I went looking for hiking in the center of the state. What I found was 2 things: the springs, which is free diving, and the Rainbow Gathering in Ocala National Forest, the winter gathering. 2012, I literally found the Rainbow Gathering by accident. Lines of buses and dirty kids in the desert, the scrub pine forest of Florida, just saying, welcome home, offering me food and weed, telling me to join them. I had no clue. I thought it was a cult. It took about 9-10 years later to realize it kind of is, but it's a friendly one. I mean, they're not technically a cult, but kind of. Love you guys, loving you. That's the way they say it. I got you saying like the cult words, loving you, but whatever. That's how they do it. They slip it in slowly. Found the Rainbow Gathering, found free diving, the springs, the snorkeling. I went back in 2014 with a gusto. I mean, I dove deep. I got down to like 65 feet free diving down into a cave within like a month or 2. And I was killing it, and I started loving the free diving and like really getting into it. I would just work my ass off for like 4 days in a row, 4 13-hour shifts, or 3 13-hour shifts, and then take 4 days off to explore the state. I was all over the place. Until one day I went down to the Florida Keys, did a snorkeling trip at the Christ of the Abyss statue. Back to my awesome job. I was making over $1,500 a week in a 30-hour week, working at a little fish house market in Cocoa Beach, Florida. One of the better jobs I've had in my life. I put in my 2 weeks notice, moved down to the Keys to live in a parking pull-off in my car. Within 2 weeks, I had a job making almost as much money at Murata Bay, and I was living in Tavernier, Florida, in the Florida Keys, in a $1.3 million house sitting for these people I never met for 6 months. There was a pool, there was a jacuzzi, there was a rooftop. I didn't have people over for parties. I kept it respectful, so I stayed. I gardened and did landscaping and traded my way into having this house that I got to live in for free in the Florida Keys. And I thought I was going to be a house sitter the rest of my life. I got on a movie free diving, doing a stunt role. James Reagan fought cancer for 7 years, and he passed. His last year, he had started a nonprofit for kids with cancer and raised millions of dollars. He studied school, went to college the whole way through, even though they said you got a month left at age 13. He went to college every day, studied every day, even knowing he was just weeks away from death. He kept going to school. And so a film crew followed him around. They were friends with his family, and they documented his life and the last year of his life, and basically choosing how he was going to live while choosing how he was going to die with integrity. It was a tough movie, but basically James studied philosophy, and in African culture there's a man-made assault, and they're legends. And this man-made assault goes to the deepest part of the ocean and dives down to see the mysteries of the ocean, dives to the very bottom and sees all the wonders that no one will ever see, all the mysteries, all the beauties of the world, and and wants to bring them back up to the world and share them. So as he's going back up from the deepest spot, this man-made assault starts dissolving and dissolving and dissolving, and he finally gets to the surface. He's completely dissolved. The man-made assault is gone. He's dead, and all the mysteries of the bottom, the beauty, remain at the bottom of the ocean. So the week before James died, he had a dream that he was the man-made assault, that he dove down through the ocean. He saw all the mysteries, all the beauty, all the secrets of life, and that as he's coming up, he was dissolving, and that was his cancer killing him. He's going higher, higher and higher, getting closer to the surface, less and less there. And just like in the legend, he broke the surface, dissolved, but unlike the legend, he was still alive, he was still there, and he got to bring that beauty to the world. So the film crew needed someone who could free dive, and they chose me to play James in his dream, playing the man assault. And I'll tell you what, I got to spend 12 hours free diving on a boat through all my favorite spots through the Keys, diving with no fins and no mask through all these photos of this young man who just passed a month before his life, who were floating in the water column. It looks like CGI. I was diving through his life, and it was amazing. Some challenging. The director, she said, the producer, she said, Jacksima Palama or something, she said it was the hardest day of filming she's ever had. And the whole time I just kept this most amazing positive attitude, and like I was referred to as the talent my first time ever. I even got to go to a film, what's it called, a film festival, and see my name on the big screen once. That was cool. So I moved to the Keys, get $1 million house to live in by myself for free, get on a movie, and the only one allowed to free dive the wrecks with Rainbow Reef Dive Center. I end up doing like videography for Rainbow Reef, where they get me all my scuba, they get me towards my dive master for free. I get to go out on the boat like 8 or 9 times a week, where it's usually a $90, $80 trip, and I'm going for free and shooting videography, and everything was going great. But then they started treating me like I was a subordinate, like I was like one of their workers, and I was doing a work trade. I was trading my final product, the photography and videography, for them to like let me come on board, and they were talking down to me, and they have a problem with that with their staff. So I bounced out. I didn't feel like everything I was working towards was working. I did a bunch of other stuff, but I got confused, and I decided to go to away. So I went to North Carolina, lived in the Pisgah area, Pisgah Inn. That was beautiful. National Park on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Went by Asheville. It was incredible. Then I went to like Pennsylvania. Then I went back to Florida. Then I got ready, and I just felt like I was in this dark depression. I couldn't get out of it. I wanted to do the underwater photography business. That was my dream. I wasn't painting. I wasn't doing underwater photography at points. I was having issues with my sinuses. The Keys were amazing, but I was struggling. Another redhead. I got all caught up over her. Another dark depression. So I felt like the only thing I could do was go back to my roots and get back to traveling. So I got a job in Alaska. May of 2018, I flew to Alaska for $180 from Fort Lauderdale to Anchorage. It's a fucking good flight. Lived there for 3 months. Ended up living at at a fish camp where I plugged in to the employee housing section of their camping section. So the employee housing would set up tents. I plugged into their employee housing camping section, even though I didn't work there, and just blended in right on the edge of the fjord with bucket list animals right there, and lived through the solstice on my birthday of Alaska, on the edge of the wilderness down in the Kenai Peninsula by the Kenai Fjords National Park. That was So crazy. Look through my Instagram. You gotta. My whole Instagram is just this story backwards. It'll take you forever to get through like the 5,000 photos of my past 10 years. But it's all there. You hear all these references and see it on my Instagram. Just Jeremiah's journey with 2 periods between. But so basically, I'm probably gonna wrap this up in the next 20 minutes because I'm getting there. Basically, Alaska was great, but some crap went down. I moved to Anchorage, was looking for my spot. Alaska was my first recreational marijuana state, and I was like, I'm going to the cheapest state there is. I went to Oregon. Showed up in Oregon, $30 ounces, had this awesome job. I was smoking lots of CBD and THC. I was like, my stress levels were lower than they ever had been. I was ready to dive back into like my freediving plans, my painting, traveling, like mix it all together, put it all together. And then I got the call. My mom was sick. She had a psychotic break. She had been ill and in a home for 2 years. She had broken her leg, falling out of her wheelchair, and had kind of refused physical therapy and just stayed in the home. And her mental illness had gotten worse in that time. Well, I guess it got to a point where, I'd called her, kept in touch, but not nearly as much as I should. And I guess everyone had just completely neglected and abandoned her, I guess. We were all under the impression that, someone in my family had been there taking care of them. That's the way they made it seem, but they weren't. And my mom basically let me know that she had something next to a stroke and a heart attack together, that she went blind and had a psychotic break and was in a really, really dark, ranting state. And she basically told me that she'd been praying for death for years and that she was going on hospice so that they could help her along the way. And I felt so guilty. It broke my heart. I felt like I was chasing my dreams while letting my mom rot. And although she was the person who kind of, my dreams were of me healing from the things that she had done to, like, honestly, to hurt me, I abandoned her, the way she kind of had abandoned me as a kid. And I felt horrible. So she had decided, she was dying. She was dying. And so they were going to put her on hospice, and she wanted them to help her do it. And so my mom's always been so supportive of me. I wanted to go support her decision, but also tell her that I believed we could try something else. So I flew straight to Minnesota, right? Left my job, wasn't prepared, flew straight to Minnesota, stayed with my sister a little bit. We ended up arguing, ended up having to stay in like a homeless shelter over Christmas during the polar vortex of 2018 when it got to negative 63 below zero. Was riding a bike 10 miles a day to work through it, not making much money. It was freezing cold. My mom was ill. I was on the verge. Everyone in the home was ill. Everyone I dealt with was like mentally ill because the homeless shelters filled with them. It was a struggle. My mom was being abused by the home. She was literally being... One second. Yeah, she was being tortured by them. They had her with her head backwards. She's 350 pounds. Her head was like this, her legs were up, right? They had her in the bed, covered in pinches with the lights out. With the switch for the light, they pulled the string up so she couldn't get to it with the TV off in a room alone. They just locked her in a room alone in the dark. And were literally abusing her. Like, sometimes I mention that weird MK Ultra shit, and she literally stayed at the Monarch Corporation home. And schizophrenia is what they use to break people's psyche in MK Ultra to like, I don't know, some weird stuff, because they were doing weird stuff to my mom. But what's weird is, instead of like going nuts on them, I just showed them love by showing her love, and I ended up being the person in the home for those 2 years more often than all the other 80 people combined, where I would end up giving the other people hugs, and my mom understood enough that with her precious time with me, I would share it with some of the other people who didn't have anyone. And so basically that first week there, I would play her music that she loved, and talk about memories, and just be there for her and hold her hand, and honestly consciously send Reiki energy, which we all do naturally. When you kiss someone's boo-boo, Reiki. When you wish someone well from afar, Reiki. We're naturally performing Reiki. Just if you want to do it really well, you got to practice. So I was literally laying my hands on her and imagining loving energy going through with no amount of guilt, no amount of pity, none of those negative feelings creating a filter or barrier. I just pure love just sent through my touch. And literally I could see it right away. She just started coming out of it. She started healing up, and she started, like not going off on her crazy rants. She was going off on stuff that would just, wow, it really makes me wonder again about some of that stuff if we hadn't had some weird darkness in our family back in the day, because she was saying stuff that was out there that really kind of has ties to things I've heard too. But she started coming to, and I realized that I wasn't there. And I told her, I said, Mom, if you want to go into hospice and you want to let them help you end your life, and that's really what you want, I said, I support you. I support you 100%. I'm gonna cry selfishly, and I'm gonna be there for you, and I'm gonna hold your hand, and I'm there for you. We got this. But I would love if you would consider coming back out of this, letting me be here for you, letting me hold your hand. We can laugh together. We can love. Love the time we spend together, and I can teach you to love life again. I can teach you to smile and enjoy and find pride, and I would love if you would give that a shot, but it's your choice. And she chose the second one, and we got to have the most beautiful time. One of my best friends, Dan Fletcher, because I had struggled, he ended up dropping almost $5,000 getting me moved in right next to her. I still owe him to this day. Not easy to admit, but it's better to admit that stuff than just act like it doesn't happen. I still struggle. But yeah, I'll get off that aspect. Yeah, I got to be there for my mom, and she started healing up, and I got to the point where like I was using essential oils because I noticed they really worked well with like her mood and stuff in her episodes with the schizophrenia. Like, if you ever want to know more about that, like I study that a lot, and they have a lot of help for people with mental illness. And so I'd use them, and humming therapy helps drop schizophrenics' audible hallucinations by up to 60%. You just sit there and hum together. You ever wonder why schizophrenics hum to themselves? It's because they need to, and they know what's up. We all do the things we need to naturally. We're natural healers. But then everyone calls it crazy, so they stop humming and don't heal it. It's a fact. Look it up. Yeah, so basically I got to the point where my mom literally admitted she had schizophrenia, and they do not do that, right? She admitted accountability like the first time in her life, which broke my heart. I mentioned that earlier. She said, I wasn't a good mother, was I, Jeremiah? All I wanted to hear was her admit that she like wasn't perfect, and it broke my heart. Be careful what you wish for. But so basically, it was tough because I was putting my energy towards her, and I had to realize that I had to put it towards me first. And so I ended up going to Denver eventually, and on a trip, and I liked it, and ended up at the end of 2018, or the end of 2019, realizing that, yeah, I had to move to Denver and fly back to see her every few weeks because it wasn't working. I was running out of energy for her, and I was falling apart. I lost so many forms of my identity, and that scared me. And yeah, it was tough. One of the hardest decisions of my life, And so I moved to Denver, started getting all set up, and right when I get set up, got a job at the Denver airport, bartending at the Chop House, like $500 shifts, 4 a.m. to 2 in the afternoon, $15 an hour. Not a single server or bartender made under $100. Made under $100,000 a year in like 30, 40-hour weeks. No exaggeration. My resume I'd worked on for years got me this job. The first person to get hired in a job fair with 800 people gunning for it. And then COVID came along and took it away from me. I was going to use that to go travel between airports and free dive and start my underwater photography business and buy that $70,000 underwater camera I wanted to buy and do all those things. I was going to use that job to like get where I wanted to be, but COVID had other ideas. COVID was the best and worst thing to ever happen to me. It also took my mom from me in many ways. I couldn't see her. Her last year, the lockdown that was used to protect her ended up killing her. She caught COVID. Everyone in the home caught COVID. The only 3 people to die, though, from what I've heard, are the people who gave up on life years ago. Most of them were completely asymptomatic. Yes, I'm telling you, my mom was 350 pounds, bedridden, on oxygen, immunocompromised, autoimmune, everything but heart disease, heart attack, everything but the diabetes, and she didn't even cough. The only reason they knew she had COVID is because they tested everyone once a week. So basically, the lockdown procedures, even NPR said they killed more people in old folks' homes than the 1 million who died from the disease. But I hate to say it, I'm the guy who sat there in the homes for those 2 years, and we don't give a shit about our old people. We'd rather they die so we can have their money. We can't admit that to ourselves, let alone out loud, but no one's there visiting the people in the homes. So if they just died because of COVID, I'm sorry, but is it really that big of a deal to most people? That's shitty to say, but so true. That's why it wasn't a big deal all the people died, like my mom during COVID. She went backwards, so I had to sit there through COVID and watch my mom. All the work I spent 2 years on getting my mom to this happy, functional person, just regressing backwards to pretty much an animal. And I got to see her. Eventually I started hitchhiking through the lockdown, started my journey. I went all over, that. I don't know, need to go too much in depth into that, but maybe I can on another time. I'll just mention the time since my YouTube started and all the different playlists. But basically, she went backwards. It broke my heart. This trip with YouTube, this whole thing with YouTube was basically to provide you guys a positive, again, at first it was Facebook, but then YouTube, was to provide a positive media source during COVID when nothing was positive and it was just fear, fear, fear. I wanted to show the opposite of fear. My lack of fear. I wanted to show my connection to nature, my connection to other people, and that was helping me heal from my issues, losing touch with my identity of my mom, and my art, and my travels, and all that other stuff. And so this YouTube thing now, it's helped heal me, and I wanted to help people to see a potential path to their own healing, where they can see that they don't have to go and paint in Hawaii, live with next to nothing, but like if you've got a dream, go chase it. Just go chase it. What's stopping you? Your loved ones are gonna die. Yeah. I moved out of Pennsylvania, my loved ones died. Didn't get to be there for my grandmother or my grandfather's funeral. But I got to be there for my mom for the last 2 years. I got to be there for her funeral. A lot of things I didn't want to happen if I left happened. But it was so worth it. So worth it. If you have any dreams, you'll never die saying, dang, I should have worked more. But the majority of people die regretting what they never tried. Just go for it. Really, just go for it. But it'll never work if you don't believe in it. You have to believe in it. Believe in yourself. Believe in it. Now my channel's monetized. I'm here in Hawaii trying to sell my first painting. I never have. That's how my father lived. I'm still connecting, still following that dream. My father lived for those 10 years and he died at the end of the 10 years of his healing. And here it is, at the end of my 10 years, and I'm not dead, I'm alive. This is another rebirth. It was my first rebirth to this new me, but now this is a new me, where I'm not chasing my father's dream anymore. I have my own dream, and I'm going to do honor to him, not by following his, but by being the man that I am, and the man that I'm going to become, and the man that I have become. And I'm proud of that man. I'm far from perfect. I'm going to fuck up big. I have fucked up big, but I care, and I love, and I'm able to care again, and I have a place in my heart, and I have like emotional availability, and like I'm still making mistakes which I can learn from, and I still have adversity, which is going to be what helps burn out those impurities. But I'm a person, and I'm alive, and I have you listening to me bare my soul and not taking advantage of the vulnerability. I feel so special for that. Like when I say loving you, it's fun to say because the rainbow says it, but like I mean it. I have so much love, and I love you. Like I think it's cool. I think we should all have that type of love for each other. I mean, the Greeks said I think 5 types of love, and the one love was the love for everyone. It was a universal love, but love for the family, love for a friend, love for a significant other, romantic love. There's different types of love. I definitely have a very strong love for all of you watching. And even my trolls, and even some negative people saying some negative stuff about me right now, which doesn't need to have a place on this channel. Love them all, because you don't want to waste an ounce of effort on resentment and hate. Spend any time hating people and you become what you hate. Not me. I love life, and I will have struggles. And I will have triumphs, and I will keep fighting the good fight. I will keep believing in myself. I will keep working towards the underwater photography business. I will keep working towards painting and using my YouTube to sell my art. I will keep trying to push a platform where I can help teach people about inner healing and embracing themselves and avoiding fear and not embracing fear. I can work towards, making money in the process, maybe someday becoming wealthy from it to the point where I can, work towards philanthropy and start pushing towards creating media that convinces the world that, hey, especially after COVID, we need more national parks, we need more national spaces, we need shuttles from local cities and towns that are free, that can bring more people, an unlimited amount of people to these places, rather than like schedules saying, hey, you have to time up your visit to the Grand Canyon 3 years from now. That's not the answer, in my opinion. I feel very firmly about that. And I'm not saying I'm going to achieve all this stuff, but I have these dreams, and I've had them, and I'm going to work towards them, and I'm going to continue working towards them, going international, doing the freediving business, starting a multimedia business, uh, so many big plans. But again, with a lot of the end goal being towards helping to start a shift, like I did with that national park thing, where I could hopefully get us as a nation and a world to start putting more energy towards having spaces for us. We need them. And again, I don't really know if the current solution after COVID and all the people hitting outdoors is the answer. That's limiting it, putting it on a schedule. I hate that. I hate that. But that's me. That's who I am. That's where I came from and where I'm going and what drives me. And I always knew I walked like my father, talked like my father, act like my father. And I was so proud to be my father's son. But being there those last years with my mom and seeing her when she had all the things that she set her identity around and they were gone, and she sat there with nothing. She couldn't read her books. She couldn't read her Bible. She couldn't watch her TV. She couldn't eat all the food she loved. All the things she loved were gone, and she was so happy, complacent. She was so full of integrity her last couple of years. I'm almost more proud of her than I am of my father. And she taught me that you don't need the circumstances of your life to determine how you feel about them. I'll say that once more. You do not need the circumstances of your life to determine how you feel about your life. And she taught me that, and she taught me so much pride. And I feel like the past decade has really brought together me learning who my father was, integrating it into myself, learning more about who my mother was, and learning about what I'm proud about her for, and healing, through a lot of the issues that came from her specific abuse against me as a male, for being a male, by being there for her, who has been abused by men. Unfortunately, she had it rough. She was sexually abused as a child in her family. So she took a lot of that out on me because of her illness. And so me getting to take that and then help her heal her of her issues with men by being the male to help her heal that, helped me heal for my issues with women. And it was just such a beautiful thing. And I'm not all healed. And I'm so insecure about how women see me and my romance and all the things that my mom told me, how I would never be loved and I'm worthless, and how I'd never be worthy of love and I'd never love anyone. And stuff that really wasn't her, it was her illness, but just really was built into my psyche. And I'm just stuck picking these people that are like that version of my mom. I think what I need to realize is that I can pick the part of my mom that had integrity, that was proud. So maybe if I can just put my focus completely on that aspect of my mom and not whitewash the memories, but just where attention goes, energy flows. So I think maybe my goal through these next steps of healing are going to be to continue focusing on the positive side of my mom and maybe work away from those negative patterns of gravitating towards women who lack accountability, who can be controlling and demeaning, and maybe, a lot of the patterns I experienced as a kid. So I can take the best of my mom, the best of my father, put them together, no longer chase either of them, and just be my new self in this new rebirth as I turn 40 this coming year and finish this 10 years of travel. So in some circles, in some spiritual circles, they say that for men turning 40 is your birth, that you are pretty much your own womb in the first 40 years, that you give birth to your new self as a man. And I kind of like that concept because I'm basically that womb in the process of getting birth as I get ready to turn 40 in the next 6 months. And I love the healing I'm on. I feel like I can still use so much more. I'm still one disturbed individual, but who's not? Come on. One of you guys, please tell me you're not disturbed. Yeah, exactly. It's just not about not being disturbed. It's about how we process it, how we deal with it, how we choose to like shed light on it by like talking about it. Let's get rid of this stigma. Men should share their feelings. Women should share their feelings. Men, women shouldn't just tell men they want them to share their feelings and then take advantage of the vulnerability once they do. I'm not saying all women do, but that happens way more than people realize. That's why men keep it to themselves. You know, everyone wants a man to share, and then we share, and they're like, no, not share like that. I want you to share like just things I want to hear. Well, sharing my feelings is the full range. You're not always gonna like it all. You know, it's not healthy that men are keeping it in, and we, as men and women, through supporting men, sharing the vulnerabilities, can get men to feel more comfortable. We as men can share our feelings more often, be more open. This is another big part of the channel I like. And we can help create a transition in this world because toxicity is not just a masculine thing. Toxicity is toxicity. Come on, let's quit the whole toxic masculine thing, or the need to say toxic feminine. Come on. Every finger pointed is one pointed right back at you. It's just psychological projection. And I feel like, yeah, helping to get men back to that point. I mean, 4 out of 5 suicides are men. Every 5 days, a child under the age of 15 is killing themselves now. Do the math, there's like young boys killing themselves left and right all the time. This never happened before. And I'm sorry, but I feel like a lot of it is the way the media is choosing to represent men in the media. You know, we're just these dumb, toxic, whatever. And the thing is, to me, the media isn't a window into society. It's Simon Says. They tell us how we are, and then we become that. So let's fight that urge. Screw the media, screw the TV. Women are amazing. Men are amazing. We're great. We're great to each other, and we should be able to share, and we will share. And we can make a transformation together on this planet through saying simple things like loving you and sharing our feelings and letting people share them. And even if it's like not something we want to hear, maybe just taking a second to digest it before jumping to conclusions and letting ourselves be triggered and upset by hearing things that you feel that way. Ouch. You know, but like giving it some time and maybe considering it and letting, you know, the eyeball isn't made to see itself. We need each other. We're each other's reflection. So a lot of times we can't see our subconscious motives as easily as others can. So when they tell us, hey, it seems like you're doing this and this, no, I'm not. I didn't try to do that. But sometimes they're right, and it's our subconscious. If we can set our ego aside, we can realize that, like, hey, they're not 100% right, but they have some good points, and I can grow through this. It's my ramble. I don't know. I like who I am. I like where I'm going. I love all of you. I love myself. Miss my father. I'd love to paint with him on this beach and just talk about our travels. Miss my mom. I'd love to like push her in her wheelchair, nurse her back to the point where she could walk and go on a hike with her. I'd love to make her a meal and feed her, make her super happy. I'd love to have met someone special and gotten to the point where I could have a family and introduce my grandchildren to her. You know, a lot of those things, they're not going to happen. You know, they can't happen. But I honor my parents. I love them. And I'm going to try to just focus on the positive here out as a means of drawing those energies to me. I don't need a relationship. I don't need someone in my life like that, but I'll be 40. It'd be nice. My longest relationship was 2 years. And I do hope, you know, leaving on my travels 10 years ago, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping I'd find a woman I could connect with out here. And, yeah. Guess I'm going to be done looking, but maybe that's when I'll find it. I only need myself. Love yourself. Can't love anyone until you love yourself. So, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to relax here on the beach. Put a little bit more work into that painting. I probably got about 8 or 9, maybe 10 hours on it. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. We'll see. The hard part is like, when you show someone a painting, they're like, oh. But like, the only painting I've ever given anyone, the only painting I've ever given away, I've never sold anything, was to my mom, and I got it back. You know? And this will be my first painting I'm like giving up. And I guess it's gonna be kind of hard for me because you can't have expectations, and she's probably just gonna be like, oh, you know, and it's something that I have so much emotional energy put into. But I ask for it. That's the thing again, just like my painting, I overwork. So I gotta just take it as a lesson and stop overworking. And I'm complicating things by trying too hard. Part of that CPTSD, like I said, check out the Crappy Childhood Fairy, check out How to ADHD. They'll both give you huge insights into me, maybe yourself if you're identifying with me. All right, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten all day. Gonna chat out some hummus, some peanut butter, some carrots, drink some water, get onto some editing, get caught up on my. I want to get like the next like 4 or 5 days videos scheduled to come out ahead of time and uploaded, so that way I can go travel and not worried about not being able to post my video. I've been posting at 12 noon here, 5 p.m. Eastern every single day for a while now. I've really been doing that consistency thing, and it's paying off. YouTube's it's making a difference. I'm getting more subs every day. Got like 110 subs this past month, and yeah, I'm just gonna relax on the beach and enjoy my new year. I got the new gimbal thing. That's kind of cool. It also has controlled pan and tilt, and I can hook it up to the tripod. So I can take my GoPro, get that lined up with the newest modes. Right, it's the GoPro 10, and I can do night mode where I do a time lapse of the stars. And I can do a panning star time lapse. Why the fuck? I've had this the whole past like year, and I'm not doing it. Like I can do a time lapse in a video of tonight's fireworks. You don't even know if you think your fireworks are good where you are. Hawaii goes nuts over fireworks. I've never seen so many fireworks. So I'm gonna get ready for tonight's fireworks. Figure out if I'm gonna stay here for it, if I'm gonna go to the big show. I mean, I should honestly go to the show and try to like. Go find some women in the crowd to meet. Like, stop using the stupid dating sites. They're driving me crazy. I deleted them today. Done with dating sites. Done trying with women in that manner. I think I'm just going to start approaching women in public in a calm way and saying, hi, I'm Jeremiah. Do you mind if I talk for a minute? You know? And if they don't want to, they'll say no. You know? I'm not going to be a douche like, oh, hey, sweetheart, or like, no catcalling. But I probably just need to meet a person in real life. You know, that's how I met Tinder. That's how I met Agato's Tinder. Yeah, I'm totally over that. It kind of helped, like I said, that she called and was like, yeah, just making coffee, made a friend, we spent all day. Like, totally left me hanging while I'm just like sitting here to give her that painting. I'll find someone who's very considerate. Or I won't. And I'll have an amazing life on my own. But till then, loving you all. I think I'm going to peace out. I could go on and on and on and on and on. I guess I'll say I really don't want to, and I shouldn't, but Carlos from Slab City TV, he's having me on tomorrow, and there's rumors going around me at the Slabs, and I don't want to talk about them on my channel because that's not the purpose. And honestly, I don't even want to talk about them because I feel like I'm going to give energy to these people who are starting lies and rumors about me. But yeah, so I'm going to go on to Carlos's channel, and people from the Slabs, knowing that they're going to ask me about it, and then I'm going to get a chance to defend myself, you know? So if you're somewhat interested about all that shit, please don't feed too much into it. I am who I seem, you know, watch a little bit of the people who might be making accusations, and you'll see between some cracks. So I basically have to talk tomorrow about that. I'm going to let people bring it up, because otherwise I'm just going to talk about Hawaii and awesome stuff. I don't want to talk about it. But you know the Slabbers are going to want that drama. And Carlos is kind of pushing towards it because he's getting the same thing where Slabbers are trying to like make up rumors and keep push him out. And so, yeah, I'm just, yeah, I don't want to say anything bad about people, but tomorrow there might be some stuff that comes out as far as like me defending my side of things where very, very horrible and like destructive things are being said about me that I do not deserve. And so if you feel like it, just a shout out to Slab City TV. Check out his channel. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time, I'll be doing a live stream where some pretty serious topics will be coming up, and you can learn about some rumors being told about me, hear my side of the story, and hear me try my best to share and defend myself without trying to make someone look like shit where they can't defend themselves, because that's what they're doing to me, and that's not cool. Technically, it's actually considered against YouTube terms and regulations to just sit there and like say negative stuff about someone like that. And technically you could sue for slander for like $15,000. But I'm not going to take those So, yeah, you'll have more videos coming out. Just going to be 10-minute video a day for now. Maybe 2 if it's shorter. That way I can create the backlog that's uploaded early so I can like go up on the volcano for 4 days backpacking and painting in the wilderness. And you still get your video every day at noon, and I still keep my traction, and then I can come back out and like get the next caught up. It's really a good plan. So that's my plan. That way I won't burn through my batteries in the wilderness, like trying to hit it up when like the service is half there. I'm just gonna roll this till 1:30, so I'll just ramble for 3.5 minutes. 4.5 minutes. Yeah, so I'll do the road to Hana again. I'm gonna do the major hiking trails. On my back, my stuff is so heavy, so I'll basically hitchhike with it, and then when I get to a hiking trail, I'll wander off in the woods pretty deep and leave my backpack with like a GPS coordinate or a what 3 words. Remember I told you about what 3 words? It's like GPS but with 3 words in combination. You know, you guys have any ideas for how I can enhance the experience? I kind of thought I might do like a map of Oahu and show each day and show like different colors. Like here's where I walked, here's where I hitchhiked, here's where I got a ride, and show like maps of day 1 through day whatever. And you know, you can see where I've been, or what else? You should tell me. Push for interviews. Say, Jeremiah, you need to do more interviews. You should all tell me that because I need like a fire under my butt. I'm like nervous to interview people again. I have the fancy mic too. Happy New Year's. No, better idea. Screw talking about it. What are you looking forward to with this New Year's? 2023? Was it 2022? 2022, was it tough for you? Like, did you struggle? Was it better than 2021 or 2020? What was it like for you? For me, 2022 was not as amazing as 2020 and 2021. Sorry, hidden the chats. No, not hidden. It's hard to hit it because more interaction. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Crap. I didn't even see the. Thank you. Yeah, this one is going to be different. I promise the live shows are going to be more. I just saw the things. I didn't realize you guys were still commenting. It wasn't popping up. Dang. Severe depression and anxiety. Oh my gosh, a calendar. That's such a good idea. Yeah, a calendar with paintings or photos. That is such a good idea. Thanks. I'm going to do the calendar for sure. You guys shared so much. It wasn't popping up. I thought no one was commenting. Aw. T-shirts, hats, coffee cups. Yep, exactly. Wow, so many good conversations on here. I missed all your stuff. Yeah, I'm going to surf. I promise, Surf Ranger. I'm going to surf. I'm going to free dive. I'm going to do all that. James, come out here. I don't know. Go fly sign somewhere for a week. Come out. Yeah, that's it. Dude, Eagle Feather, loving you, brother. I want to get back in touch with talking to you lots. Wow, so much support. Aw, Ed Tatum. Yeah, I miss my mom. But that same type of like unflinching love and support and trust in me that she had, like you guys have in me, and that's really special. Yeah, so live streams in the future, I'm thinking I might do like a story. I'll just be like, here's a story. Like, here's the time that the international media said that I was an international terrorist trying to blow up a city. I was on the front page of the local newspaper, Fox News, CNN, all that, my mugshot saying that I was trying to blow up a city. Back in, what year was that? Shit. 2008? That's the thing. Or the time that I interviewed a guy and he told me about living in like the Polynesian Islands growing up in the Dena culture now. For his tribe, he had to go to the other tribe and murder 3 different people over the course of his childhood. And that one time when he was captured by the Vietnamese, they pretty much fed him human flesh, and if he didn't eat it, they would have killed him. I can tell you about that interview. There's stuff on here that like, yeah. There's stuff on here that like, from dark to light, I have so many stories. So I think I might start doing either a series of like just regular videos, where just like a short 5-10 minute like story from my past that I toss in either daily, bi-daily, once weekly, whatever, or maybe throw it into part of the live stream and then finish the live stream with Q&A. So like, here's my story, blah blah blah, let people gather, and then do a Q&A where I like actively interact, because I want that to be a part of it. Like, I don't know what's going on with this still. Like, why are my messages not popping up as they come? So I got to learn this too. We have two minds. You talk about the gut mind. They say we have the gut microbe. We have about 900 trillion foreign cells in our body that are microbes and fungi and stuff and bacteria. And we have about 5 to 700 trillion cells in our body that are ours. And we're literally like an amalgamation. We're like a interspecies colony organism. Even our consciousness might actually be the combination of all those different organisms. Like, you might literally be 900 trillion different organisms combined into one. Like, one of them is all your 500 trillion cells, and the other 900 trillion are individual organisms acting in conjunction to create your brain, your second brain, as they call it, or maybe your first brain in Eastern culture, your gut microbiome, which creates, as they call it, like a neuronal system. I ramble a lot. So here's how it's gonna go. We'll probably do a live stream tomorrow. I'm gonna do just a New Year's Day fresh start, talk about what plans are for the year. But I'll probably also do a quick story. I'll just like a quick 5-minute story, and I'll do a better job at the Q&A. You guys really put in a lot of energy today, and I feel like I didn't give you enough because I'm figuring it out, and I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention. I really appreciate the love and support I'm being showered with, and I feel that I feel like I can really make this YouTube something that can help people, which is my goal, while helping myself. Because if a healer, which I'm not saying I'm a healer, but if someone who's focused on trying to heal is giving their energy away and then they run out, they can't heal anymore. So like, I've got to find a way to make this sustainable so that I can keep giving my energies out. And yeah, if you're willing and able, I had a few people that contributed yesterday to help me so much. I basically just need food, a sleeping pad, a sleeping bag, new backpack, an easel, a couple better paints, and then like a little thing, a bracket that goes on the tripod for a light that I get, and then my microphone, and I'm set. I have like everything. That's gonna be money, and I'm not just again expecting you guys to just, hey, I'm just gonna PayPal Jeremiah because he told me to. But like, once I get all those things, however, like, I know for a fact my painting, I can just use the painting to get wherever I need to from there. Like, I might not have to leave Maui. I could just paint, or I could paint to get enough money to get a place, to get an apartment, so that I could get a job, to wait tables, to get enough money to go hike the Appalachian Trail still while freediving, backpacking, painting, hitchhiking, surfing, doing all my passions, and then still hiking the Appalachian Trail in 3 months, to go for 6 months, then to go to Burning Man and stop at what's it called along the way, the Rainbow Gathering along the way. I could still pull it all off, all of it, maybe, but we'll see. I do plan to go and work some more. I'm not just like, hey, from here out, you guys are paying my bills. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying, if anyone feels called, I'd accept a contribution. And even if someone wanted to like send me just an item, just be careful about weight, like, I'll take foodstuffs and probably the things that I like need, like specific items. Maybe I'll make like an Amazon wish list or something with items that I could use, even potentially with items, a lot of the money I need to save would be towards the Appalachian Trail maybe, and a lot of that stuff I could use now. Maybe I could start putting up a lot of the ultralight gear that I would need in a wish list. But yeah, I'm not saying, again, I have any expectation. I do know that if I didn't receive, a certain amount of contribution over a certain amount of periods of time, that I would have to take steps towards like adding the non-skippable ads, which is fine. I'm really trying hard not to, and like, like begging for your subs and all that stuff every time. That's how successful channels get there. But I guess if I ended up getting like my Patreon set up, and if that was easier, people felt better, or like, was making money through the merchandising, yeah, I feel like that could work too. So I don't know. I feel so much better after those 3 little contributions yesterday. The one was decent sized for sure. Thank you, Janine. Thank you so much. Janine's every day recording songs for me and throwing me money to like. I'm so blessed for all of you in my life. And yeah, I really hope that I can continue creating content that brings out the best in you. I'm here, back in Hawaii, chasing my dad's dream. His spirit is out there surfing on the waves somewhere, baby. It's not really how I see it, but it's fun to imagine. I can go out there like Surfrider says and go surf with him. Loving you all so much. Take care. Aloha.